Hi, how's it going? I'm Luciano Ruas, a Brazilian pianist, and today I'm gonna talk a little bit about how to make a Brazilian arrangement, a Bossa Nova arrangement. And I've chosen the tune Once I Loved, that here in Brazil we call Amor em Paz, by Antônio Carlos Jobim. I'm a Bossa Nova specialist, but I don't have the piano solo arrangement of every tune of Bossa Nova. This is not played so much here in Brazil, so I didn't give a lot of attention for this theme. I've played in some gigs just with other musicians, but now we are gonna talk a little bit about the solo piano and the resources to do a arrangement of piano solo. So let's start here seeing this real book sheet. I'm using real book because a lot of musicians have access to Brazilian music through the real book, and I know that for a lot of people it will be it's a reference. So let's start. First thing, let me talk a little bit. Let's play the melody in just the simple chords that are written here. All right, so let's see. C augmented. All right, if you know if it's easy for you, you can jump this part of the video. A minor 7, A minor with G on bass. That's very characteristic of Brazilian music. All right. A flat major, E half diminished, and D7 flat 9. After this, you repeat from the beginning. F major, A minor with G on bass, A7. Now let's go to the second ending. Second page, I'm in the first measure. C major 7. All right. Alright, and if you want to return, you're gonna play the D7. Alright, so this is what is written on this sheet. Alright, but we have a lot of options, we have a lot of alternatives to make it sound more musical, to make it sound more Brazilian with the harmony in a richer way. I'm gonna talk about these resources in general, all right? So one of the resources I like to use, it's the double function left hand that's made with the lower part of the hand is gonna play the bass. That's made by the root and the fifth, and other part of the hand is gonna play the seventh and the third, or the third and the seventh of these chords. Let's put it together, and I'm gonna use the Bossa Nova beat, Bossa Nova groove. I'm just playing the chords Let me start again. G minor 7, the first, C7 augmented, F major 7, F sharp diminished, G minor 7, G sharp diminished, A minor 7, A minor with G on bass, F minor 7, B flat 7. If this is easy for you, you can jump also. Alright? E half diminished. So I've read the first, the left part. Let me put the melody. So this is the first part of the song, the A section, and when I read this, I find some opportunities opportunities in harmony, and let me talk a little bit about them. Sorry. Look this A minor 7, 1, 2, 1, and one measure of one bar of A minor 7 and another bar with A minor 7 with G on bass. Besides that, I'm gonna do 1 A minor, half the next measure A minor still, and after I changing the last beat. It will give a more interesting harmonic change. This is what is written. So I can do this. A minor, A minors, G, and I change. It's less time of G on bass, but it can connect clearly with the F minor, alright? So I go to F minor, B7, and here we have two measures of E flat major 7, and it's very common in Bossa Nova when we have a major 7 chord to change to the 6th, so we get a little melody here. We can give more movement. For example, so we take advantage of the chords that take so long time to make some variations on them. Let me continue. So I go to E flat, E half diminished, and A7, and D major 7, D7. All right. Another thing we have here in this song, it's that the melody has a lot of space, long notes, and in Bossa Nova we can take advantage to create some counter melodies when we have these spaces. For example, Sorry, I'm reading on the screen sometimes. Look, the 7th going to the 6th. Here we have another opportunity, this A7. It's very common in Bossa Nova, we do the 13th and go to the flat 13th. So, let's see. I use thirds here. Look, the diminished scale. Alright, so here we can use a chromatic approximation here. Besides playing, when the melody is on the 4th, I'm in D major 7 here, but the melody is on the 4th sometimes and goes to the 3rd, I like to create this approximation. Alright, another thing that I've done here, besides playing on the 3rd system, let me show you again. The 3rds. When I'm in F minor 7, I've gone to B flat, sharp 11th. This 7th of F minor goes to the sharp 11th of B flat. And here we have a chord to prepare the return, a B flat, D7 flat 9. And we can use this flat 9 chords, we can read in many ways. We can change this flat 9 for sharp 9. That is sounds more strong, right? We can also, that is a very interesting chord that I like, that is the flat 7th sus with the flat 9. That sounds interesting. It's like a C minor over D. I'm not playing the 3rd because the chord is sus. Alright? But let me show you what I've done till this moment. So we can substitute this A minor for a G minor 7 to go to F minor. This is a possibility also. So I reharmonize this possibility. Sharp 11th of B flat. so this chord, and so we return. So this is the first part of my arrangement, all right? There is a lot of details of the Bossa Nova language you can see in other videos about this left hand, how it works, what is the pattern that is authentically Brazilian of Bossa Nova, that it's important to put it, all right? So the song is gonna return again, and I would call your attention to see that sometimes I do a slightly different one repetition on one variation. That's because when we have more vocabulary in some style, we can see some possibilities of variations. All right, we can see similarities between some parts of the song and go in different ways. For example, let me show you one example. In this third measure, I put porira sometimes, but now I put for example. It's slightly different, but it's the same idea. All right. So let's go to the second repetition of this part. All right. Now in this repetition, I put this chord, this last chord. Now I'm going to go to the lower part. I'm gonna be more dramatic. I'm reading again. Let me see. Now in this part we're gonna go to the second part of the song. All right. Let's go. Let's see what can be done. Sorry. Now I'm using the rootless voicings here, and I'm gonna use my left hand all to do a bass line. All right. Here is very low. This part I'm gonna return to the medium register of the piano. But in this part I can work with an interesting sound, very dramatic. When we have these bass lines on the left hand, we use the root and the fifth to do this, and in augmented and diminished chords, you don't use the fifth of the chords, all right? You just use the root, and you can change octaves to sound interesting with these bass lines. I'm using a bass line based in the lines of the bassist Luizão Maia. Luizão Maia, it's the bassist that played on Elis Regina's band, and he imitated with ghost notes low drum of the samba. Note that I play very softly. It's not a percussive song. There are many people that try to... This is Bossa Nova. I'm trying to sound delicate, softly. A little bit of pedal. So at this moment, I'm trying to return to the medium register, and I'm gonna take advantage of this E flat major 7 to make some movement. Fifth, sharp fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, or root, and so I got the melody. Right? So let's see how it works. So rootless voicings on the right hand with the melody on the pinky and the two last fingers, and the left hand just bass lines. All right, so let's go. Sorry. So we got on the second ending. So I'm gonna read from the beginning all I've done till now, all right? I'm sorry. And so I got at the second ending, all right? And there will be some things I won't remember in the first try, all right, about the arrangement, but we return and repeat to remind them. One interesting thing about these rootless voicings is about that sometimes the melody gets on the middle and I can play notes over the melody. It's just it's softer. When I play the comping, it's softer. The melody, for example, note that the melody is here, but the comping is here, over the melody. Now I did a counter melody to change from F minor to B7. Note the melodies here. So I can put the chords over the melody. It's just try to give more emphasis to the melody. I have to hear the melody more. Alright? So this is the first part of the arrangement of Once I Loved. Let's go to the second ending. Another solution for the melody on the fourth, it's to, besides putting D major 7, it's putting G minor over D. And you can create a chromatic. So my first solution was an E flat major 7, and this other will be G minor over D, and after that D major 7. And we are gonna have, let me play just the chords and the melody. This is A flat 7 with flat 5th. The flat 5th is on the melody right now. Alright, so these were the harmonies just with the melody together. What can I do here? So I try to use some voicings here to give a different distribution of the notes. If you want to know more how I do this, how I put different notes in these harmonies, it's just send messages. I'm gonna show you in the content, all right? About the harmonies, all right? But let's go. So here two measures of B flat major 7, so we can change for the 6th or create some approximation or some movement here. Another opportunity. Some interesting voicing of A flat. I'm finding some harmonies. I'm gonna use some approximations here. I was searching for an option here, but let's return to the second ending. So chromatic approach to G7, and now a chromatic to F7. So now a strong voicing here, using rootless voice, and now some upper structure. And to finish, I'm using D minor 6. So 7 goes to 6. This is an opportunity you can take advantage in minor chords. Experiment to play, for example, D minor and to change by the 6th. Let's go, let's see. About the harmony, there is something I think it's useful to know in Bossa Nova. You can, in major chords, you can always add the 9th. Most of the times. If you think it sounds strange in your specific situation, you can, you don't need to put, but you can, for example, a C major 7, you can always understand as a C major 7 and 9th. In a minor chord, it's the same thing. In most of the cases, you can put 9th in this chord. And sometimes will work very good if you change the 7th by the 6th. It sounds very interesting. Like I'm doing this last chord, D minor 7, and going to D, the 7th is going to the 6th. Alright? And in dominant chords, you can explore more possibilities of tensions that I'm gonna talk about in another class. But try to remember this: major chords, you can always add the 9th. Minor chords, you can always add the 9th, almost always, all right? And sometimes you can substitute the 7th by the 6th, all right? So let's hear what I'm doing here. Chromatic approximation. I'm gonna put one more. In this last G7 of the song, I'm using a very typical progression in Bossa Nova in dominant chords. Here I have a G7, but it's very common to have this movement in the 13th falling down to the 5th. So we do this in our voice. I'm putting this progression. So this is very typical in Bossa Nova and can sound inside the Brazilian language. Alright? So after this very interesting chord, so pay attention to this. I create this counterpoint, counter melody, right? and so we're gonna have another chord of return that we can explore the possibilities of a dominant chord. Alright, so let me read this different part, this last part. So our very strong, and so I can return and improvise and so much more. But this is a basic arrangement using a lot of elements of the Bossa Nova language. If we are doing a review, what's important to do? What was important to do this arrangement? First of all, I use the double function left hand to do the Bossa Nova groove, alright? So alright? So the melody and counter melodies in the spaces, that's very characteristic in Bossa Nova. A very good question is if about the sustain pedal, if we use or not. And when we play a more expressive Bossa Nova, not very rhythmically tune, we can use the pedal to create that expressive sonority. All right. When we are playing more percussive, I avoid the pedal to maintain the sound clear. All right. So this was the arrangement of the first part. After that, in the second part, I've used my left hand to do the bass lines using some ghost notes, and I use my right hand using rootless voicings. These rootless voicings have some specific structures, and if you want to know more about it, just tell me on the comments that I'm gonna do a class just about the rootless voicings, alright? So it sounds like this. So this resource to do this part. On the last part of the song, predominantly I put in some approximation, chromatic approximation to get some chords. A flat to G7, D flat to C major, F7, F sharp 7 to F7. So this was the main resource of that I thought in this part. Let me see if I forget some. And that progression that's very typical in dominant chords. Sometimes, most of the times, you won't find this progression written. That's G7 13th, G7 flat 13th, and G minor 7. Sometimes you're gonna just see a G7 and one measure of G7 and another about of G minor 7 or C7, and you have to find the opportunity to put it. All right. So to go to the end of this class, I'm trying to execute this arrangement. All right, so let's go to the first page, and I'm gonna close my microphone now to do this. So I took this moment to make the exposure of the tune of the melody, and I improvised a little bit using some resources we saw on the arrangement. So I know that it's a little bit advanced for some of you to understand all the details of this class, but if you have some doubts or if you wanna understand some topic with more details, more time, just send me a message on the comments. That will be a great pleasure to me to explain to you that detail, that moment, in respecting your musical moment. I know that each person understands differently in different moments, so it's not a problem for me to explain again in another way with more examples, all right? So I hope you have enjoyed this class. For me, it's a great pleasure to teach Brazilian music here on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And if you want to see more, just follow me on the channel. Just subscribe on the channel, all right? Thanks for watching and muito obrigado. Tchau, tchau.